Welcome to Saxon Math Course 3, Lesson 101, Starred Problems. The first starred problem is question number 4. Question number 4 says a container holds 4 green marbles and 3 blue marbles. If 2 marbles are drawn without replacement, A, what is the probability of green and then blue? Well, green and then blue means we need to find the probability of getting a green and then multiply by the probability of getting a blue, keeping in mind that we've taken out a green marble first. Well, if there are 4 and 3 marbles, altogether there are 7. Of those 7, 4 of them are green. If I take out 1 marble, there are now 6, and of those 6, 3 are blue. Now, we can simplify this down to 1/2, which will give us 4 over 14, which we can reduce to 2 over 7. What is the probability of blue and then green? Well, the probability of blue, we have 3. And then if we take out 1 marble, there are now 6. And of those 6, 4 of them are green. When we multiply this, we can cancel out a 2, giving us 2 over 3. And we can cancel out a 3, giving us 2 over 1 and 1 over 7. 1 times 2 is 2, and 7 times 1 is 7. Now, part C of question 4 says, what is the probability of blue or green in either order? Now, when you're given 2 options and both are okay, one or the other would work, we add. So the probability of blue than green we found was 2 over 7. The probability of green than blue was 2 over 7. So the probability of this or that would be 4 over 7. Remember, when we add fractions, we only add the numerator. Now, question 5 says there are 2 spheres one with diameter 12, the other with diameter 3. And then says, what's the ratio of the diameters? Well, if we take the ratio of 12 over 3, that's 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Now, 4 is 4 to 1. It then asks, what's the ratio of the surface areas? Well, the ratio of the surface area will be the ratio of the diameter squared, meaning we have to do 4 squared to 1 squared. 4 times 4 is 16, and 1 times 1 is 1, giving us a ratio of 16 to 1. Our next starred problem is question 6. We're given this table that represents students getting 5 dozen tiles and making a rectangle with them. Does this table show inverse variation? Well, let's find out. How would we know? We would know if we did x times y. If it has a constant product, if multiplying them together always gives us the same answer, then it is an inverse variation. Well, 2 times 30 is 60. 3 times 20 is 60. 4 times 15 is 60. 5 times 12 is 60. So yes, it shows inverse variation. We can tell it has a constant product of 60. Now, a rectangle with 6 rows of tiles would have how many tiles in each row? Well, 6 times the number of tiles would have to equal 60. So if we divide both sides by 6, we'd get y equals 60 over 6, which is 10. Now, question 8 says, which of these sampling methods is least likely to produce a sample that's representative of the population? Our options are random sampling, convenience sampling, and systematic sampling. Now, random sampling is if you just go through and pick a bunch of random people and you don't have any criteria based on how you're picking them. Convenience sampling is you go and you talk to people you already know, talk to people who it's easy for you to talk to people who you might already have a phone number, and sample those people. Systematic sampling is when you have a rule determining how you are sampling. If you're using systematic sampling, you might pick every second person who walks past you. You might go out and find every third person you walk past. Now, of these three, the one that is least likely to produce a representative sample is convenience sampling, because convenience sampling has a high bias, meaning that it is very likely to be including people who are more likely to agree with whatever you think than what the general population thinks. Now, question 11 is a question which you're allowed to use a calculator on. Now, question 11 says, if 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd, Avogadro's number, atoms of nitrogen have a mass of 14.01 grams, what is the mass of one nitrogen atom? Well, we can take the total weight and divide by 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Now, if you are using a calculator to do this, you should note that you must keep a parentheses around 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Otherwise, you will end up dividing 14.01 by 6.022 and then multiplying that quotient by 10 to the 23rd. Using the parentheses includes the 10 to the 23rd in the division, meaning that we have to do this multiplication first before we can divide. Now that's important because the answer we're going to get is a very tiny number. If this huge number weighs 14 grams, then only one of them is actually going to weigh 2.326 times 10 to the negative 23rd, which is a very, very tiny number. Now, question 12 says write an expression, or multiple expressions, using variables for the area and perimeter of a rectangle with width w and length w plus 7. Now, the area will be length times width, w times w plus 7. Well, w times w is w squared, and w times 7 is 7w. The perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Now, 2 times 2w plus 7 is 2w plus 14. 2 times w is plus 2w, which would give us 2 plus 2w, which is 4w plus 14, equaling perimeter. Our next start problem is question 13. Now, question 13 says two number cubes are rolled. Find the probability of rolling a number greater than 0 on one and less than 7 on the other. Well, a number greater than 0, our options are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All 6 of these are greater than 0, so it's a probability of 6 over 6, or 1. Now, what about less than 7? Well, 1 is less than 7, so is 2, so is 3, so is 4, so is 5, and so is 6. That means 6 of them are less than 7 out of 6, and 6 over 6 is 1. Well, we can put 1 over 1, too. Now, the probability of greater than 0 and less than 7 will be 1 over 1 times 1 over 1, which is just 1. Our next starred problem tells us that these two lines are parallel and then asks us to find x. In order to find x, we're going to need to know this number here. The reason for that is if we know this number, we can say that this is a triangle, and this angle plus x will equal 180. Well, we could go straight from here to here and say that I'm going to call this angle M. Angle M is congruent to 60 degrees because it is an alternate interior angle. We could also say that 60 is equal to this one over here. We'll call this B. It's equal to B because these are vertical angles, and M and B are corresponding angles. If you feel more comfortable using vertical and corresponding, you can use that. If you don't remember vertical and corresponding, but remember alternate interior angles, you can use those. But anyway, we're going to get x plus 60 plus 100 equals 180, which means that x plus 60 equals 80. And if we subtract 60 from both sides, we'll find that x equals 20 degrees. Now, question 23. is a problem based on our lesson today. We're asked to find, in terms of pi, what is the probability that an object that lands in the circle also lands in the triangle. To do that, we need to find the area of the triangle and divide by the area of the circle. We can find the area of the triangle because we're told that the radius is 10 and the base of the triangle is a diameter. That means the base of the triangle goes through the circumference. It goes through the center. Now, to find the area of the triangle, we multiply by 1/2 times the height times the base. The height is a radius because it goes through the center, meaning the height is 10. The base is 2 tens, so it's 20. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 20 is 100. Now, the area of a circle is its radius squared times pi. So 10 squared times pi, which is 100 pi, or 1 over pi. (25a) says what kind of variation is shown in the scatter plot? Well, we can see here that it goes through the origin and is linear. That means it is a direct variation. (25b) says what is the constant? Well, we have two variables. The time it takes him and the distance he walks. Now, a variable is the opposite of a constant. So when it says walking time and walking distance, we know those are not constants because those are variables. Now, rate is distance over time, and fit is nothing we've ever talked about. So, if distance over time is the time divided by distance, remember that in a direct variation, we have a constant ratio, and that ratio is distance over time, our two variables put together. So that means A is our answer. Now, these have been the starred problems for Lesson 101 of Saxon Math Course 3. Remember, finish the rest of your homework, stay safe, wash your hands, and stay inside.